My name is Ferdinand Pöllert, and today I would like to take you on the path of learning again. The last time I talked at length about where I see the problems of the current education system in the West, but also worldwide, and where I think the roots of those problems are. Today I just want to talk briefly about a very famous author and highly decorated teacher who already wrote a book about this topic in the 90s. His name is John Taylor Gatto, and he wrote the book Dumbing Us Down. His most provocative sentence in the book, or at the beginning of the book, is that our education system is totally fine. There is nothing wrong with it, but there is no problem with it. It works exactly as it was designed for. And he says the main aim is not to give you knowledge or to build your personality to a more independent, stronger, freer person, but the purpose of the education system is to educate people who function well in a pyramidal or hierarchical society. To achieve this, Mr. Gatto found 7 points, which he calls the hidden curriculum. And he says this 7 points, they are kind of hidden in nearly any of the current official school systems. So just to let you know what the 7 points are, the first one he identified is confusion. He says the children are confused right from the beginning, because within each subject there are no real connections. I learn first about DNA, then I learn about Darwinism, then I learn about the bone structure in biology, for example, but the connections are not made. And it is like this in pretty much every subject. And he says not only within the subjects, but also between the subjects there is no connection. There is no connection between language or math or biology or physics. Although in real life all those things are connected. If you do a carpenter job, you need to know about biology, about the wood. You need to know about math, you have to do your calculations, and if you want to sell this stuff, you have to be able to read and write, so you can write some advertisements. So this is his first point. His second point is class position. Because from early age on, the moment you enter school, you are put in place. You are put in a class with the peers of your age group, or you're put in a class according to your performance, but you are put in a place. And this way you'll always learn there is a position for me in society and I have to remain at this position. I have to obey the people above me and I can kick the people below me. Which is a bit mad, because if you think about it, when you were children, very small, playing outside, all the people were the same, all your friends were the same. Okay, some were dishonest, who lied to you sometimes, then they were not so good friends, but you were more or less at the same level. But here you become a class position in the pyramid. His third point is indifference. Because he says, yes, the teacher expects you to give your best in his class. He wants that you are really excited and you work your best. But the moment the bell rings, you have to stop and you have to move on to the next class. Through this, the children learn it's not important what you love doing, and it's not important how much you're excited, and even if you give your best. Important is to follow the clock. And by this, after a while, they draw the conclusion, okay, so I just sit there, I don't care about the content because the content is not important. This is why then you have so many students who really are not interested in the teachings and in the knowledge, because, yes, the clock rules. His other point, his fourth point, is emotional dependency. because the teacher rewards you with a smile or with a star in your little booklet. but you always have to please the teacher. So it means your value is kind of decided, or is decided by a person outside of you. This fifth point is pretty similar, is intellectual dependency. You are trained that you always need a teacher, you always need an expert to give you knowledge. Whereas if you're actually interested in a topic, you can always research it yourself. Go out there, all the knowledge is, a lot of knowledge is in the internet, in books, you can ask other people. You don't need an expert or any teacher, but in school we are trained, you need somebody who is educated in this special field and has the label expert, and he will tell you what to do. Intellectual dependency. This leads then very quickly to his sixth point, which is low self-esteem. By always being judged from the outside, and by always your value always being determined from the outside, people outside of you, or some tests which are standardized and which don't really consider your, or can't really consider your specific situation, a lot of people, actually the majority, their self-esteem gets a kick. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. All right, and his seventh and last point is what he calls you can't hide. In class, you're always supervised, you're always controlled by the teacher. He looks in your bags, he checks your phone, he walks behind your back, looks over your shoulder. Even the breaks, there's always some teacher going up and down the hall, checking even on the toilets. And also at home you are controlled, because the teacher, the school requires the parents to check if you did your homework. So by this, the little children are imprinted with the pattern, you can't hide. Obey authority because anyway you're controlled and you can't hide. Those are the 7 major points which Mr. Gatto makes in this short but really interesting book. If you want to go get more into this, then I can really recommend reading this book. Because on the other hand, there's a lot of criticism about the current school system. But it's not good to focus on the criticism, because I mean, it's kind of a waste of time. The important thing is that we find solutions. Because I mean, there are a lot of great teachers out there, and there are actually also a lot of new school projects which try to find good alternatives. So let's focus on the positive. This was the last video I'm making about the problems. You have now a summary, and starting with the next one, I will tell you about the first great solutions. Because now I had the privilege of running a summer school program here in the beautiful city of Vienna, and I had students from all over the world. Many of them, they had the problems which Mr. Gatto described in his book. Like many of them, no matter if they came from the US, Russia, Turkey, France, they had the attitude that knowledge is something which I get from the outside, from my teacher, just like filled in. I'm just sitting there passively and doing nothing. But I also saw some great alternatives. I haven't found an amazing student from France who showed me that you can learn a language without any specific textbooks, without any specific knowledge of grammar, by just learning it the natural way. And she was actually taught this way in her school in France. So next time I'm going to tell you about how to learn a language naturally and really, really good. Alright. I wish you a good experience on the path of learning, and that you grow and get some new inspirations. Take care.